Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of Unprinted Pages. We are still in our Killing Stroke party videos, and today we get to meet David Cornford. He is a epic fantasy writer. He has 3 books out before he became part of the Fate Core team, and he wrote such a interesting story in the Fate Core anthology duet. Good morning. Well, good evening, sir. For me, it would be good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for getting up so early.
So, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am. I was born in Canada, born on Vancouver Island, and then when I was very small, mum and dad returned back to England. So raised in England, grew up there, and then in the year 2000, I moved from England to Australia. And so I've lived in Australia ever since. I've done a little bit of traveling. I had some work in India. I had some work in America. So I've done a little bit of living in different places, but I've really lived in Australia since 2000. Lived on the East Coast. Don't know Australia. Very big country, and it's very much a East Coast. Some stuff at the bottom, and then the West Coast. So my wife, who I met in Sydney on the East Coast, is from Perth on the West. And a couple of years ago, when the barriers in Australia for COVID came down, we moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. So now I'm living near Perth in Western Australia.
That is epic. That is definitely one heck of a life. And I bet you got a million stories. But today we're going to center around your written ones, because those are the ones I want people to find and get most. Tell us about Bayargle. I am, however you pronounce his name, and his interesting powers of sucking the life force out of people.
You're very close. So Bayargle is how I pronounce it. That's in my head, but I take no offense. I quite often will mispronounce my own characters' names. It's whatever sort of mood takes me, but Bayargle is how I pronounce it. In the anthology, it's actually he is a character from one of my books. So my latest novella, Blood and Wild Places, is set in the series that I'm currently writing, and he's the antagonist in that novella. In the novella, it's set a bit in the future from this short story. But what I'm finding as I'm writing is that I'm writing about something, but then I uncover and the characters tell me so much more about themselves, and I uncover all of this backstory. And that's what happened with this character. I had written him in a certain way, and then I kind of went back to him and went, there's just so much depth and so much history to this character that makes him the way that he is in Blood and Wild Places, the novella. And I wanted to tell that story. And I didn't want to tell it in a novella form in my series because I just wanted it condensed to like a little snapshot of his life. And so this was the perfect opportunity to kind of focus in on what makes him the way that he is in the future.
That is amazing. I had wondered if he would lead back to your other series. And so this one is one of the two that are already out, or one of the ones that are going to come out soon?
Yeah, so this is the latest novella. So I released it, I want to say a month ago. So it's
Okay.
pretty small. It's an ebook. So it's currently on Amazon, but early next year it will also be on Kobo, and I'll be expanding its reach. And the short story in the anthology is really a little bit about. So let me backtrack. In the novella, you see him as he is in the future, and there's also a bit of a flashback to him way in the past when things start kicking off and his powers start manifesting, and then there's this gap in the middle. Well, this short story fills that gap. It's what happens after his powers manifest, and then what takes him and what leads him to where he is in the novella Blood and Wild Places. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's an interesting. He starts off in one place and he ends up in a different place, and it's that journey. And what I find fascinating when I'm writing is putting that relatable journey in there. So why do people change? Why do they end up in a certain way? And I hope that this is a very relatable journey that takes someone from one place and leads them into being in quite a different place.
Dude, you just helped me so much as a fan and reader, but also where to leave people if they enjoyed the story. Come find the one with that is actually really beautiful cover. The Blood and Wild Places cover on our thumbnail here. That way the readers can see what it looks like.
I'm glad you like it.
That all your covers are gorgeous. Kudos to whoever made them.
Well, I actually had one artist for the book one of my series, which I've got up on my wall here, and this is the books. So that was one artist, and there we go up here. It's a pretty epic fight scene with a dragon and something that is very much not a dragon. So that was one artist. That artist also did the book cover for my first novella, which is The Forge. And then Blood and Wild Places was done by a different artist. But it's always a challenge trying to find an artist where you've got a story and you've got characters in your head. And to you, they look a certain way and they act a certain way and they've got a certain thing about them. And then you go to someone who's never been in your head, has never read these characters, and you go, give me that. That's exactly what I want. So I'm really happy with the artists that I found. They've managed to take what was in my crazy mind and bring them to life.
You are the second author that I've had on the show that has their book cover behind them, which is really cool and one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I hope to one day find an artist that can do that.
Oh no, my wife did this for me. Not the art, but did the print for me. And I won't try and move my my camera, but I also have similar size on the other wall. The map from my first novel, which was done by another artist. So this is my little den where I get to close the world off and put some what I consider absolutely amazing rock music on, but my wife will disagree. And then I just get to create.
My husband and I have been lucky in agreeing what music is really good for both of us. So at some point, yeah, definitely want to find out. Do you have a playlist that you wrote for these stories?
Good question. I've got a couple of artists that I listen to regularly. They're my favorite artists, which are very much inspirations and almost muses for my writing. They just motivate me. So the first one is probably someone that no one will have heard of, but it's an English band called Magnum, like the gun Magnum and Magnum PI, who fairly old band. They're still playing, but they are just absolutely amazing. Very very emotive. It's rock music, but they do songs about war and loss and also heartbreak, and it's just fantastic. And I put a dedication in my first book to the band, and I sent them a copy of my first book, and I was very lucky to see the lead singer, whilst he was on tour in his tour bus, sent me a photo of him holding my book, which is going to be the next thing for the walls in here.
That is epicness incarnate. Okay, how do we go from this story from the novella, and how does that lead into your other two books, story-wise?
So it's an interesting journey. I wrote my first book, which is Chosen of the Dark Realm, which is the cover. So I wrote that. Took a couple of years. My first ever novel. I've written short stories, but writing a novel is quite a different beast. There's a lot of nuances, and you've got lots of threads that you've got to thread to. So it took a while. But whilst I was writing that, I just kept filling or backfilling it with all this lore. And it was, why is this world the way that it is? And what's the background to the evil stuff? And what's the background to the good stuff? And why is there a kingdom here? And all this kind of thing. And I finished the first book, but I ended up with so much backstory. And what I realized through that whole process was that actually what I'd written wasn't the start of the story at all. What I'd written is kind of like almost middle-ish, and there's all of this other stuff. And I was kind of at this point where, well, what do I do? Do I just keep that to myself, or maybe do social posts or something? But it really needs to be heard, because it really deepens the world and the characters that I'm writing. So the first book is book one of the series, and the series is called The Great Plan. And of course, whilst I was writing that, it was like, well, why is there a great plan? So the two novellas are set before it. So they're really starting to set the scene of what will eventually be Chosen of the Dark Realm. What I'm currently writing is, again, a book that's before it. So it's not your traditional way of writing, but I'm actually writing I'm writing the prequel to this one. So what you're going to end up with is the novellas, which can be read as standalones. They're standalone stories, but they will directly lead into this prequel that I'm writing, and then this prequel finishes, and then Chosen of the Dark Realm picks it back up again and carries on. So not a traditional way of writing, but
No.
what's quite interesting is that any of them could be read as standalone novels. Like, you'll get a lot more if you read them all together, because it's like, wow, this is where the characters have come from. But you can read them separately. So that's the journey that it's all on at the moment.
Okay. Is there a preferred reading order of the first two novellas?
No, the two novellas pretty much happen at the same time. They're different characters, different settings. So they're different stories. They don't relate to one another at all. When I finish the prequel, then you'll see both those threads come in, and they will be in the prequel, and then you'll see those also come through into Chosen. But the novellas can be read either or. It doesn't matter which order you read them.
Okay. That is good, because I've started with The Forge.
Well, I hope you like it. It's a short one, but hopefully it gives you a taste.
Oh, yeah. My whole entire plan is by the end of the month to have all of them together and figured out what's actually going on. Because I figured this guy has got to lead into somewhere in this world, because most authors, myself included, all the stories lead into something that I've published. And I'm still building that world, and I found out, hey, there's more stuff than I could ever expect. And then one character leads to another character, leads to their backstory, and somehow I've ended up writing one of the people's on the team's backstory, and I'm like, I didn't even know how you would lead into this other character's world. So yeah, it's epic. Your brain's working great. And okay, give me 2 seconds. My husband's leaving for work. I just wanted to tell him have a good day before he left. So yes, this is actually my morning, dear viewers, and I am still grateful I get to see this man. So yeah, my question is, do you have a character in your story that you would like to sit down and have like a meal with, and a cup of coffee, or both? Because I'm not sure if you like to drink coffee with your meals or whatever, but who would you like to talk to most and learn more face to face?
Yeah, that's a great question. Hadn't really thought about that before, but yeah, there's a few. I'm trying to do this without spoilers. So there's the Blood and Wild Places, the cover where there's a bit of a dark face with a antlered kind of figure. That character is very pivotal to the entire series, and it's another character that's on a journey. Comes from he goes through a lot, and I think that he's a character that I would definitely like to sit down and chat to at the beginning of the journey, and then fingers crossed maybe towards the end of the journey, but I can't say too much because it's a hell of a journey. So that's one character, and there's another character which is in Chosen right at the very end, is mentioned in the Forge, and is going to be a major character, and that character is one that's I can tell you his name. His name is Zuen, Zuen, and he's not human, very, very powerful, and he's just trying to hold on. He's trying to figure out all of the chaos and all of the plans and the nightmares that are going on around him, and he's trying to make sure that everything doesn't break down. So those two, and then the last one would be Nanaya, which is the lead female character from Chosen, and again, strong character throughout the books, not in the prequels. Yeah, she's comes from a place, a very dark place, again, a very powerful character, very strong female character, and that's definitely someone I'd like to sit down and have a meal with.
That is awesome. Are you a coffee or a tea person?
Good question. First thing in the morning, cup of tea. Has to be a cup of tea. On the way to work, has to be a cup of coffee.
Oh, okay. That normally it's coffee for me and then tea. So
oh, there you go.
But then again, not everybody likes either or. That's why I always ask, because I like to know what other authors' preferences are. Do you have a favorite place to write?
I do. Anyone that's seen anything on my socials will have seen me down by a river that's near where I live. So there's a river called the Swan River here in Perth. Huge river. And there's a place where it's a bit of a wood that then goes down to a little beach. And that's where I wrote The Forge. That's where I wrote Blood and Wild Places. And I take a little chair, stick it down in the sand, get my laptop out, and just ride away looking at the river. And the river has dolphins. And so you'll normally once a day you'll see some dolphins. So it's absolutely idyllic. That's my favorite place to write.
It sounds gorgeous. Lately, I write wherever I get the ability to, but then again, I have tinies, so not some of them. A couple of them are not so tiny anymore. Ooh, sorry about that. I already told them it'll be 10 minutes later than normal because of this. So, what is the place you're looking forward to leading your story? Because I know you don't exactly lead it. But what place are you looking forward to finding yourself in the story next?
Where's the story going?
Yeah, where the story's going, but is there like a place in the world that you're looking forward to seeing in the story, or a character development thing that's going to happen that you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see how this will happen, or how we'll get to here and what happens here?
Yeah, great. So I guess two things. One is the story is called the Great Plan series. That's the series of the books. It's hinted at what the Great Plan is, but it's never really revealed. I'm really looking forward to the reveal. So that's something which I'm trying to hint at, give a few little, ooh, what's going on here? But that's something I'm just gonna bring and smack in the face at some point. So that I'm very much looking forward to. Still not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but it's something I'm building up to. So that's the first one. And the second one is I know how the story is going to end. And it is going to be truly epic. And I'm really looking forward to making that happen. So again, I don't want to give too much away, but a big reveal and a very big event, let's say, that's going to shake everything up, and you're going to see a lot of churn with characters. So those are the two things which hopefully will really shake people, and they're what I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Is there a favorite quirky or fun character that you have in the story that you want more people to notice and be a bigger fan of?
Yeah. Again, good question. I think that the character in Blood and Wild Places, there's kind of at the end, two characters kind of go off. One is Antler Man, and the other one is one that I'm still developing. So that one is one that I would. He's on a journey, and I'm not quite sure where that journey is going, but I'm hoping that I incrementally make him more and more interesting to people with his backstory and his journey as a character. So if people watching this read Blood and Wild Places and they get to the end and they'll get the two characters, then they'll get where I'm going with that. I don't want to say too much. I'm trying to build up a lot of suspense and a lot of mystery with the characters, kind of giving a little bit and then holding a bit back.
Oh, yeah. We will definitely add all three to the TBR on the website.
Great.
What is your favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert? Probably red wine.
That works. You're the first person that gave a liquid as the dessert. Normally people are like, ooh, brownies or mint chocolate chip pie or something.
No, if you're going to have the calories, let's just jump straight to it.
Hey, that makes sense. That's a great answer. What is your favorite book or book series?
So anyone that's read my bio knows I've got a close connection to David Gemmell, and his many of his series, the Waylander series, the Druss series of his, they are the John Shannow series of his. I could keep going on. They're old. But they're favorite. They're quite dear to me. So they come up, and then the other one is probably one of my favorite books because I read it when I was young and it uncovered fantasy for me. Is Magician. So that's a big one for me. I've got a big trade paperback revised version in there. And that comes out every so often. It's falling apart, but that's another favorite for me.
I can honestly understand that. You should see what my copy of Friday by Robert A. Heinlein looks like after getting the original trade paperback copy when it was published. So, yeah. Since we are getting to the end, where do you want people to find you, and do you cook? And if you do, what is your favorite recipe?
So you can find me on Facebook, David Cornford. You can find me on Instagram. I've recently started on Substack. I'm also on X and Blue Sky. So David Cornford author. You'll see the picture. That's where you can know that it's me. Do I cook? Yes. And what do I cook? Anything spicy. I love chili. The hotter the better. So Mexican food, Indian food. Probably I cook more Mexican food. And my wife cooks more Indian food, but anything with chili.
Alrighty, that is awesomeness. And in the wherever links go, you will find a link to his website with his bio. And please follow that. You'll find some really cool things, and it'll lead you to different places. That's how I ended up on his Substack. How I found him is in our Discord. And we have a call for submissions out for reimagined fairy tales. So if you'd like to join us at Fake Horror and write with us, because we're welcome to anybody who has an amazing story, and we want to write with you. So if I'm at all the places, Owl Light, Faycore, just look for the fairy or the owl. And I'm also pretending to be a whole bunch of other authors, so you might find me there talking to you. So please, I have 2 poems, An Imminent Bloodbath. He has his story, and it is so early. Like, what was the name of your story? I cannot remember it for the life of me.
Drops of Blood.
Drops of Blood in Buried Secrets. You will find a teaser, and I'm going to find that video or find out if I put up that video yet. And please go read his stories, his short story in our anthology, which will lead you straight into his other stories. And you want to check those out because this is a beautiful world. Have an amazing evening, and I hope your weekend goes well, everybody. Bye.